I really, really miss corny, campy old music. Yes. Because nowadays, it doesn't exist anymore, really. I mean, I don't hear any of these kind of songs anymore. We used to have, like, there in the decades of the past, there was a lot of really corny fucking music out there that was really cheesy and really campy and really corny, but it grows on you and you actually learn to appreciate it as time goes on, where it's like a fun song that you'll hear somewhere. Like that song from the 70s, Rock the Boat. That song is so cheesy, but it's fun. It's a fun, corny, cheesy song. The songs from like the 60s, like The Twist, like nowadays they don't make any more fun party music. There's no more good party songs or songs that make you feel good, that are really happy music, that are very cheesy and campy in a fun way. Because in the past, pop culture used to be extremely campy, and that was the hip thing to be. People loved that shit. But nowadays, the people today that create pop culture, TV shows, movies, music, they do not understand that. They do not like that stuff. And it sucks because nowadays we don't have this kind of fun, corny stuff anymore. And it's everywhere, but especially in music. Like that song by Three Dog Night, Joy to the World, stuff like that. And in the 80s, we got songs like Thriller, Somebody's Watching Me, that song by Rockwell, the Ghostbusters theme song. There used to be really great pop songs. Jungle Love by The Time. We used to have really excellent funk music in the 70s and 80s and the 90s too. The G-Funk era of rap. Let's talk about rap for a second. I've always loved that rap was a vehicle for people to express themselves. I loved when rappers talked about serious topics and their lives and their experiences, and that's really cool, and that was always around. But nowadays, that's it, though. Rappers today do not make fun party rap songs anymore. They don't, not at all. Now every modern rap song is very, very serious, very melodramatic, whereas in the past, we had that shit too, but we also had so many party rap songs. The song by Master P, Make 'Em Say, What about that song? Remember that song? The Monstars anthem from Space Jam. All these rappers coming together, and you can still be badass, but make a funky rap song. What about Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg? I mean, all these old like rap songs from like the 90s, they were so poppin', and they were so fun. They were like fun party songs that you could still really dig into the lyrics, and it wasn't all fluff lyrics. Like, the lyrics still had meaning to it, but they were still songs that a larger crowd of people can enjoy, but it's not a shitty song. It's very competent music. Gin and Juice, I mean, where are all these songs? And it still went on in maybe the early 2000s. Like, in the 2000s, we still had some party songs out there, and some of them sucked really badly. Like the fucking Skanky Legs song. Fuck that song. But there were other great party songs in the 2000s. Like the Casper Slide Part 2. Oh my god. And Country Grammar by Nelly. PIMP by 50 Cent. These were the 2000s music that was poppin'. It was fun party music. And it had a corniness to it. Even songs that you don't think are corny, they're cheesy though in their own way. Like that song PIMP by 50 Cent. Yeah, it has lyrics that, it's fun lyrics, and it's not super serious, but you can tell that there's a layer of seriousness in it when you're paying attention really closely to the lyrics, but it doesn't turn into like this melodrama of a song where he's like depressed or some shit. Like, it's still like it has a great beat to it, and you can dance to that shit. And that's what we used to have with music. And it used to be everywhere in the 2000s and the 90s. Once the 2010s happened, like that whole, and even I would say the late 2000s, all the shit was going away. It was really going away, and then there was all these new, really awful party songs. And what happened to the corniness? Like, remember all that stuff like the Macarena? The Macarena was so much fun. That was a great song, The Electric Slide. These are great songs. I mean, yes, they were overplayed to death. To fucking death. Every party you went to, they played it 1,000 times. And they just should have found other party songs, corny songs to play at these parties that were from that same era that wasn't the Macarena or the Electric Slide 10 million times. They were out there. They were there. But they didn't play them. And that was why I think people got tired of corny music. Because people got annoyed by it, and then people started thinking in the back of their minds that, oh, corny music is so bad. It's so cheesy and awful. Actually, no. The more I think about music, like that stuff, that's what made it great. Is because it stuck in your head and it was fun. It made you feel good, and it was entertaining music. And the lyrics were fun. It was like a song that you were a little embarrassed to say you liked, but then eventually it got to you and you're like, you know what, this song is poppin'. The beat is great. I love to dance to it. And it's very corny, like especially the song Macarena. It's a very corny song. Especially in the 70s, we had a lot of corny music, but people loved that stuff at the time. Disco music, Disco Inferno, all those songs by Barry White. Like, what happened to disco? Disco, when it went away, it became G-Funk in the 90s, and then just poof, it disappeared. And I know there was 10 million disco songs that were made, so if you want to make this argument that we've had enough disco songs, then that's fine. If you really want to play that card, then I can kind of half understand what you're going for there as a music fan or whatever, or as the pop culture or whatever. But if you want to make that claim, then why can't we keep playing all these obscure disco songs at all these parties, at modern parties? I don't care of what year it is. A good song lasts for an eternity. That's why they still play songs from the 60s at places. You know, what happened to all the corniness? What happened to the cheesiness of these songs? And sometimes it was really fucking annoying, and there was terrible old music that was really corny. But it wasn't all bad. Those were the bad ones. What about the good ones? What about the great ones? The ones that shined. The ones that became admired by other musicians, and other musicians were trying to create a fun song. It didn't have to be a song that was serious, and it could still have competent lyrics and make you think, but as long as it made you dance. It didn't matter what the genre was, whether it was rock, rap, it didn't fucking matter. As long as it made you dance, there was something about the song that it was great. It was entertaining in its own way. And it was fun. And we used to have fun things in pop culture more, things that were more lighthearted. Like if you look back to the 1990s, and I know I'm leaving music now, but it really is not just music though. It's a problem in pop culture in a broad sense, like in general. And if in the 1980s and 1990s, so many corny things were on television. Most of television was dominated by sitcoms. People loved to laugh, and it was great because shows like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, for example, it had a lot of serious topics and a lot of episodes, but it was still a sitcom. So when you watched it, for instance, you would learn a lesson from the episode, but because it was a sitcom, there would still be jokes in all the serious shit that was going on. So when it happened to you in real life, now you knew how to handle it. You learned from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that you can handle serious issues in your life with a smile, with a joke here and there. Not everything was super serious. And that's what television became in the 2010s. Everything was a drama. Everything was super dark and super serious. And people were now only interested in things that were ultra realistic. and depressing and just full of a lot of anger and resentment. Instead of like the 90s where you had Family Matters on television, the show Friends, Everybody Loves Raymond, Seinfeld. These were super corny shows, but they were awesome shows because it was fun. They were fun shows that you can have a serious episode of Friends, but you know in that episode there's going to be like 5 things that make you laugh. And even if the jokes don't make you laugh out loud, they're going to give you a good chuckle here and there. And just think about all the jokes they wrote for all these sitcoms, these like hundreds of sitcoms in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And even in the early 2000s, there were still sitcoms. But that was when it started to die out. But still, these were the reasons why people were happier back in the day than they are now. Because I think there's like this weird agenda nowadays where, especially beginning with the 2010s, really, I would say maybe 2008 to now, there's like this agenda they have, these companies, where they want to make people depressed. They want people to be angry at each other. And they make all these shows really popular nowadays where they glorify psychopath characters like Breaking Bad with Heisenberg, the show Dexter, a man who's obsessed with dead bodies. These are the kind of shows that became the shows that they pushed really hard on television and streaming and shit. And you notice it's not the big fun, corny, laughing shows that they used to have. They don't push that anymore. And if it's just, it's sad. It's sad that the popular thing to watch on TV back in the day was sitcoms, and how it just got kicked to the curb. Yes, there was a lot of sitcoms, so I understand a lot of people, I think, maybe got a little tired of it, because there was a huge sitcom boom, right? In the 2000s, that 70s show and all that. But at the same time, why can't you keep airing the reruns and keep trying to make new sitcoms like the old ones? And there was a few that did, that are pretty good, but it's just, it's so frustrating because the younger generation, they don't understand why people were so happy back in the day, because we had all this stuff that was very bright. It was vibrant. There was corny music, really cheesy movies, and everything was more lighthearted. And nowadays, it's the opposite in terms of trends. Nowadays, it's just superheroes and drama. Those are the two really huge things that they push on people nowadays, that are the big things that they want people to watch. But back then it was so different, and it just felt really magical. Like, it made you feel comforting that you can come home from work and watch a new episode of the sitcom Friends, and it had characters on it that you could relate to, and they're all friends with each other. And I'm not saying Friends is like a masterpiece of a sitcom, because a lot of shows were like Friends, so. But still, I'm saying, though, the vibe of all these shows, the Drew Carey Show, so underrated, and they don't air it in reruns anymore and all that shit. But all these shows, it made you feel so different when that was the norm, to come home from work after you had a horrible day, and now you're watching a new episode of these shows. And back then it was better before streaming because there was fewer channels, so more people were watching these shows collectively together in their houses. So it felt like an event when you watched the finale of a season of that 70s show, or The Simpsons, or whatever. It felt special. It just felt like it was important. And that's when TV was more exciting and great. And TV sucks now. I disagree with this whole thing. People keep saying how now we're living in the golden age of television. No, we're not. No, we're not. The past was the golden age of television. We're in a different era now where there's still TV shows, but there was just something about how it was, and how it was like this for so long, that I think we took it for granted when it was happening, because we assumed the stuff they made back then was going to be how stuff was going to be made forever. We assumed sitcoms and music and movies and stuff, we assumed this kind of stuff was the norm and it was going to keep going like this, like until we were old and shit. But no, like that changed. That all fucking changed. The 2010s fucking ruined everything, and it made people question why I should be happy, why I should laugh, why like the 2010s made it popular to diss things that were corny. All of a sudden, everything became super dark and very super serious. Whether it was video games or music or like I was saying, rap songs now, they're not bad. Some of them are, but they're always serious music. And they just don't have like this great beat to them that makes you want to dance, that makes you feel inspired. I mean, it might make you feel inspired, but there's nothing about, like, it's not fun like it used to be. And I'm not saying that people don't make things that are fun nowadays. Sometimes they make a good movie every now and then nowadays. But, and sometimes there might be a good video game that comes out nowadays, but man, it just used to be so different though. It used to be really, really different. And another thing is that when they used to make something like a cartoon movie back in the day, it was really special because it had a lot of humor in a kid's animated feature film that was geared towards adults. So adults and kids can both love the same thing together, and it brought all ages together. And now all the ages of parents and children, they were all enjoying the same thing. Not every age of people were separated from one another. It wasn't the whole thing. The whole thing of pop culture wasn't all the adults watch all the adult stuff and all the kids watch only the kids stuff. It wasn't like that. There was a lot of crossing paths where it was exciting. It was exciting for adults and children to relate to one another and learn from one another and experience and like the same movie. Like adults back in the day, they liked the Disney movies. Pocahontas, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame is extremely dark, but we loved it as a kid, as children, and so did adults because it had adult themes in it. And that was great. And I know like people are against that nowadays because they're like, oh, it's a kid's film. Why should it be so serious? It's traumatizing. Oh, this movie scared me when I was a kid. It scared me. But it built character. Like, it wasn't so scary that it was like some horrible, traumatic experience. Yes, it scared you, but didn't it fuel your imagination? Didn't it make you wonder? Didn't it make you think about what the world is like and what kind of problems the world has? And you were there with your parents and it was different. And now when they make a kids movie, it's super only for kids. Like, all the humor is all childlike for the most part. Sometimes they make an animated movie now that has some adult humor in it, like maybe Zootopia. But still, most of them that come out, I think they're more for like the little kiddies. But didn't used to be like that. They used to be adults that were really passionate about making cartoons on TV and in movies, whether it's The Simpsons, Billy and Mandy, Ed, Edd and Eddy, man, Family Guy, all those Disney animated movies, Space Jam, the Rugrats. The Rugrats is another golden example of this. The Rugrats was excellent for both children and adults because the kids love the babies and the adults can love and laugh and relate to the parents in the Rugrats. I remember they used to air the Rugrats on Nick at Night back in the day, in the 2000s, like the reruns of the Rugrats, because Nick at Night, like a lot of more adults watched it. So the adults would watch the Rugrats. Yes, a show that's a cartoon that you think is supposed to be for children because the main stars of the show are the babies. But no, it was for everyone to enjoy. It brought all the ages of people together. But now they don't make shows like this anymore. They are trying to separate all of us. They keep trying to separate us by race, by music, by our backgrounds, with drama, with all this like negative energy and like not good lyrics, and it's so bad nowadays. Like, we are living in like this depressing era of pop culture where They do not want people to be happy. These things in the past used to inspire people and used to make people feel really great about their lives. And we used to have shows that were more relatable to people. And now we have shows, I think, that come out that pretend to be relatable to people because they're trying to push like an agenda in the show or something, where it really doesn't feel like it has anything relatable to it. And like, I think in pop culture there were always agendas in the movies and TV shows and stuff, but it was disguised better. And the way it was done brought all the people together. And that's why, older people always talk about how great the past used to be all the time. I notice young people always get very annoyed by older people always talking about how great the past was. How great the past was. But you guys don't understand. You weren't there. I'm trying to explain it all in this one video, and it really is a lot to take in because it was just so different, and the way it was done. Most people from that time, from the past, most people have a really difficult way of explaining why all this stuff felt so great, why it was like this euphoric, destined to be nostalgic energy, positive energy that came to us in pop culture. And I hope I did a decent job of trying to explain it in this video. And we can't lose this because this is special. And it keeps fading away like a candle, and we have to hold on to it, hold on to this energy, and we need to try to explain to younger people where we're coming from, why it was special back then, and we need to, show them that so that the future of the world can be a happier place, and pop culture can return to like its former glory, and just it needs to be examined more as to why it was great. Like, a lot of people don't understand, and they keep saying, oh, it's nostalgia. That's why. You have rose-tinted glasses on. It's nostalgia, 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 nostalgia. It's not nostalgia. That's not what made these things great. No, we're not thinking they were better than they were. They were actually that good. All of these movies and music and TV shows and cartoons and video games, they were actually that good. It wasn't nostalgia that makes it seem so grandiose now. It was great. All these movies and stuff, they were always great. But the young people don't understand that because they didn't grow up with it. They didn't grow up with it. Then you got the older folks that are all bitter, and they're like, well, they'll never understand, so why should I even bother showing this to them or this to them? Try it. Show them The Lion King. Show them Pocahontas. Show them these movies. Show them how, like, watch some old episodes of Pokemon, the old Family Guy episodes, just, stuff like that. Show them the old video games, like the N64 games, the GameCube, Game Boy Advance, because this will show them what it was like in that era. Alright, so I said a lot in this video. Take it for what you will. This is stuff I'm really passionate about. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe. My name is SuperPet98. And thank you so very much for watching.